in here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Freese. I'm the mayor of Tonganoxie, and I'm calling to order this March 17th, 2025 meeting of the Tonganoxie City Council. Ms. Huntington, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Mr. Partridge?
Here.
Ms. McCutcheon?
Here.
Ms. Stevens is absent. Mr. Donnelly?
Here.
Mr. Dale?
Here.
Would you join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Donnelly, did you have something?
Yes, since there is a conflict on item number 5D, I will be recusing myself of that since I am Stone Creek and the applicant.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Item 2 on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the meeting dated March 3rd, 2025. Are there any questions or conversation regarding the minutes? If not, I would accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Partridge. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 3 on the agenda, the consent agenda, where we review the bill payments from the previous period. Are there any questions or concerns or conversation regarding the consent agenda? Seeing none, I would accept a motion.
Motion to approve is presented.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. Is there a second?
Second.
I heard Ms. McCutcheon first. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We have nothing listed under item 4, old business. Mr. Brakovich, did anyone sign up to speak today?
No, Mayor. No signups.
All right, thank you. And we'll move on to new business. Item 5A, Resolution 032502, consider approval of contract for the 2025 Water Tower Resurfacing Project. Mr. Brakovich.
Thanks, Mayor. Make a few brief comments. We have a pretty thorough submittal from staff in the agenda packet. As you probably recall, last year as we were going through the budget process to determine project eligibility and prioritization, we knew that we needed to repaint the tower on 2440. And so again, the joys of working budgets in the state of Kansas, you're prepping a lot of that in the spring and through summer to prepare. And so that's what we did. What happened towards the end of the year was we had an opportunity to actually get inside the tank and examine that. And there's no hard, steadfast rule that, like every other time you paint the outside, you should paint the inside. But once we had a chance to really look at that, it was determined it would be in the best interest while the tank is down, because we have to put it down so there's no condensation to paint the outside. It would be a good choice to go ahead and paint the interior. So that changed a little bit because what we had budgeted was $100,000, and when we issued the RFP, we got 3 responses, and $100,000 would have been sufficient to paint just the outside. However, painting the inside is additional work, and so the low bid for this project was a little over $165,000, and that is the recommendation to move forward. So one thing we examined is where would the additional $65,000 come from, and it was determined that our water operations budget has got a healthy fund balance. Even if we use an additional $65,000 and some change, we would still project to end the year well above the 30% fund balance that we maintain on our utility funds. To give you an idea of some actual numbers on that, we're probably around 1.1 million for fund balance now. We project to be at about 730,000-ish towards the year end. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we'll end the year with some additional projected expense out of this. It doesn't create any additional work on our end, and like I said, staff is recommending to move forward with this.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brakovich. Is there a point in time where we'll be able to see what they're planning to paint on it?
It was, if you, in the agenda packet, there's an addendum that shows, so the person that we worked with to redo the logo, we were able to send that over. So it'll be the new city logo and the correct font to say Tonganoxie below that.
Got it. I apologize, I didn't see that.
Oh, that's okay. It was yeah, like I said, it was an addendum we added to the RFP itself.
Yeah.
And it'll be east to west this time?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was excited
Don't
about
need the
that.
budget amendment?
Not at this time. Like I said, I think we can absorb it within the water operations fund without any issue, but if something happens mid-year, we can always come back.
Okay, anyone else? Seeing no more questions, I would accept a motion.
I will make a motion to approve Resolution 03-2502, authorizing execution of the water tower resurfacing project contract with McGuire Iron, Inc., funded from the city's Water Operations Fund and Water Capital Funds.
Thank you, Mr. Partridge. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item B on the agenda, ordinance 1526, adjustments to city code references to the city's pet licensing requirements. Mr. Brajkovic.
Thanks, Mayor. So based on the discussion we had at the previous city council meeting regarding pet licensing, kind of the duplication of effort, so to speak, that's involved in that, the nominal revenue that's collected from that fee, and really kind of getting to the heart of the matter is, well, is it a licensing issue or is it ensuring that pets are vaccinated? And so based on that discussion, it was determined that we would eliminate the licensing component on the city requirement side. And Ms. Kristalik has prepared a new ordinance 1526 that strikes through essentially the parts of the code that had to do with licensing. And we'll update the agenda packets, but there's a red line that shows, and essentially anywhere it referenced licensing type requirements, we just made sure that it bolstered the vaccination requirements in that spot. So again, most of those vaccinations are done through the local veterinarians. You know, really what happens is it comes into play for like the police department or animal control if there's a stray animal that's picked up, or if there's a dog bite, ensuring that that animal has indeed had its vaccinations. So be happy to answer any other questions, but I do believe the ordinance number 1526 as placed into the agenda packet reads as it would if we approve this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brajkovic. Anyone have any questions or? Looks good to me. It'll be a good savings for folks. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Do we have a motion?
I'd make a motion, we approve ordinance number 1526, an ordinance amending the animal control regulations of the city of Tonganoxie, Kansas pertaining to license requirements, amending and repealing existing sections, and I won't read all of those, of the city code.
Does that fit, Ms. Kirschlich? All right. Do we have a second? Thank you, Mr. Donnelly.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Partridge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 5C is consider acceptance of dedication of utility easements. Mr. Brajkovic.
Thanks, Mayor. So we're actually going to make a request to move this item potentially to the April 7th. So this has to do with our planned sanitary sewer improvement or replacement project in an area generally described as 2440 Church Street, 2nd and 3rd. And so what happened is that those areas, the recorded plat for those is dated 1867. And, you know, even though utilities, not just city sanitary sewer utilities, but other utilities like electrical providers have placed utilities, there's not been a recorded easement for that. And so there's some debate whether easements are required for those utilities because it's not a replat of any kind. And certainly those utility infrastructure improvements have been in place for a long time. So what we were trying to do is reach out to the neighbors to give them a heads up, hey, the sewer replacement's going to occur. It would be nice to have you sign off on this easement, and as a trade for that, we'll cover the cost of a new tap for your private sewer line. So we also held a public meeting at the library last week, 2 weeks ago, last week, and we had a handful of neighbors show up, and some of them were upset. I don't think they really understood what was happening, or they were just upset in general. There's really no one's placed a fence or a shed over the permanent easement. But you probably recall when we do projects, you have the long-term easement that you need for the utility, but then you get a little slightly larger construction easement just to give yourself, or in this case, our contractors, enough room to work in the area. And so we've had quite a few, there's, I believe, 15 total property owners. We've received 7, great, so nearly half in executed easements. We've also reached out to the Register of Deeds office just to make sure the form of the utility easement is something they would record. So we haven't quite heard back yet from the Register of Deeds. We have about half of the folks, and so we're hoping that by the 7th, we would have all of those items answered, plus as many of the easements as we can. And again, quite frankly, we'll probably just want to give you that update at the time. If we need to accept those and record them, we'll ask you to consider that. But really, by April 7th, we're probably just saying, look, we have construction documents ready. We'd like to go out for bid on this project. As I mentioned, we've talked about it previously, there's 2-3 different ways to do sanitary sewer replacement that don't involve just digging up the old pipes and replacing that. And we're fortunate enough that even though one section has a slightly more aggressive plan, we're able to go do kind of that slip line process through most of that. And so it's very minimal in terms of the amount of disturbance. I mean, we still have to kind of dig up in certain areas and manipulate it, but it's not as invasive as replacing a whole line with a brand new line. And that's been our practice for years. Those repairs have lasted decades, and so kind of no need to reinvent the wheel. But again, we've done some engagement with the property owners in the area, and I think as of today, we've only had 2 or maybe 3 that have just been non-responsive. And so we've asked Kent Heskett to go try to find those folks and talk to them directly, which quite honestly has been our best avenue, just having the Public Works Director. But we have in case anybody wants to come back to City Hall to ask more questions, we had BG, our engineering consultants, put together a display board that kind of shows the uniform nature of what we need to have everyone be happy with. And again, I'm reasonably sure no private citizen wants to own a portion of our sewer line, and they're getting their portion that connects in replaced at no charge to them. So long-winded answer, Mayor, to say we'd like to move this or continue it to the April 7th for discussion.
Any objections, council? Okay, sounds good. Sounds good to us.
Great, thank you.
We'll move to 5D. Mr. Donnelly has recused himself from this item.
But I will stand for questions
Okay.
in the audience, so we will feel like there's somebody
Be
here.
careful, there's limited space
All
out
right,
there.
thank you. Item 5D is consider acceptance of public dedications of a final plat for Stone Creek Edition number 14. Mr. Brajkovic.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. So this is the final item on the north side of the Stone Creek development area. Mr. Donnelly is here tonight. This item did go through planning and received unanimous approval. So 2 items, and you guys are familiar with this, but just to say it in case there's somebody listening. When you go through and do development projects, there's 2 phases to platting, a preliminary plat and a final plat. So probably 20-some years ago, Mr. Donnelly advanced a preliminary plat for the entirety of Stone Creek. And why that's important here is because now we're advancing a final plat for this specific area and had a few minor changes. I think back, again, 20-some years ago, it was contemplated that there would be a through road that comes off of this little area that would eventually either connect to Tonganoxie Drive or parallel or somewhere in that general area. But as over time, the rural water district had acquired certain properties in that area and placed wells. And so this is very similar to what Roush Coleman encountered more on the south end of the development along 2440, where it's just because of the well placement, it's impossible to go through the rural water district's property. And so what the developer has proposed and staff is supportive of is creating a cul-de-sac that is very similar to cul-de-sacs to the north. I think as you go through other developments, Jackson Heights, and it's very similar to other cul-de-sac developments within Stone Creek. It allows the developer to create 12 new single-family lots, and staff has no objections to the submittal. And as I mentioned, it got received unanimous approval at Planning Commission. Why it comes back before the City Council is because the final plat does have some utility easement commitments on it, and so that's the action you're taking tonight, would be to accept those. I'd be happy to answer any other questions, or if you have any questions of the developer.
Do you have anything to add, Mr. Donnelly?
Just a few comments. First of all, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much, Chris Donnelly, 551 North Oakwood Lane, Stone Creek Development as well. As George mentioned, back in 1999, the original plat was filed for Stone Creek Development, 138.3 acres. This will be the end of the 138.3 or whatever acres with the addition of 12 lots. And Stone Creek Development LLC is the original developer. Now, the part in front of Stone Creek to the south is now still named Stone Creek, but that's Roush Coleman doing something totally different. I am not related to that in any way, shape, or form, just sold them the land, and it's time to be done. And these 12 lots are the end of that. And I'm pretty proud to say that back in, if you were here in 1999, which I think David probably was, and maybe Jennifer too, there was not much available in Tonganoxie, and the group of 4 at the time who went and started, purchased the land and started building that, had some vision on it, and it's turned out real well. Now through 2008 to 2009 and 10, when things weren't real good, and Jake probably remembers those years in banking, unfortunately I had to take it all over from the group. It just was that difficult, and but after time, it's time to finish it, and it's worked out well, and I hope that's good for the community. That's important to me. I thought that in the long run it would be good, and I still think today it's a good subdivision, nice houses. It provides a different thing than a different product than Roush Coleman providing now. There'll be full basements, 14, 15, 16, 1,700 square foot ranch houses in most cases, maybe some big 2-stories. But I'm pretty proud to say that I think it helped Tonganoxie start back when there was nothing available at all to do. So I just wanted to get that on record. And the guys that started it did great, and hopefully I've held up my end of the bargain.
Well, we appreciate your investments in the city, of course, and all your time and all that.
Wonderful place to be.
Yes, it is. Any questions for Mr. Donnelly or Mr. Barkovich? I'm not seeing any, so I would accept a motion at this point.
Does someone have the language? I didn't see it.
I don't see it either.
Yeah.
It would just be a motion to accept the public dedications on the
Okay,
plat.
just from the city agenda? All right, then I will move that we accept the public dedications of a final plat for Stone Creek Edition number 14.
Thank you, Mr. Partridge. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. Ms. Huntington, would you call a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Partridge?
Aye.
Ms. McCutcheon?
Aye.
Mr. Dale?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks,
We're
Chris.
lost without our words.
Okay,
St. Patrick's Day, it's gotta be aye.
item 6, city manager agenda. Mr. Barkovich, do you have anything more?
No items, and to make a note, we'll do the monthly budget report at the next meeting as well.
Okay. Item 7, city attorney agenda, Ms. Kirschlich.
No items?
All right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem is absent. City Council, do you have anything to add tonight? Okay, on my
Oh,
agenda.
Mayor,
Yes,
just
sir?
real quick on a follow-up item on that. I believe Mr. Partridge had asked about recognition for the state championship wrestling teams, and I believe we have a commitment for them for April 7th.
Oh, that's
So they'll
great.
be here to receive recognition that night.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you for setting that up, whoever did that. I have nothing more than the executive session. Ms. McCutcheon?
I move that the city council recess into executive session to obtain legal advice regarding annexation pursuant to the attorney-client consultation exception in KSA 75-4319B2. The executive session will include the city attorney, city manager, and city clerk. The open meeting will resume in the city council chamber at 7:30 PM.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Partridge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are in executive session.
Some pinchable people out there too.
We're back in open session. Let me report that no binding action was taken in the executive session. That's it for the agenda tonight. Mr. Dale, do you have anything to add?
I would like to make a motion that we adjourn.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Good night.
We're gonna adjourn to the Temple Bar in Dublin.